Thank you for joining the Digital Pencil Case series Introduction to Glow ePortfolios. This session is a tools-based session where we're going to look at the ePortfolio plugins which are available to all Glow Blogs users. These can be handy when working with your class to create educational CVs or profiles of their learning throughout a term, year or more. Our session today will introduce you to Glow Blogs, although a more in-depth session introducing new users to Glow Blogs is available from DigiLearnScot's YouTube channel. We'll look at how to add the tile for your local authority, creating blog ePortfolios, how to add in the plugin, and use a range of the settings. We'll also look at the end of term, year or school profile that can be created. We'll also look at where you can go for additional support and professional learning, including DigiLearnScot and Glow Connect. Glow Blogs can be made as a public or private setting. They are available on any type of device using any software, including Android, Apple or Windows. Glow Blogs are a great way to share learning across RICs, and a user can add a maximum of 3 GB of media to their blog or blog with ePortfolio plugin. This means a learner may add short 30-second clips of a performance, of a piece of music that they've played, images or audio recordings. Files can also be uploaded to a blog. There are a total of 12 various themes which you can choose within Glow Blogs. These determine the layout and style of your blog. Whilst you're still able to personalise it once you've chosen your theme, it's always better to select a theme and stick to it, as changing once you've begun to add posts may result in the loss of some of the coordinated text and images. Any blog, including those with the ePortfolio plugin, allows for a range of users with different rights. Full details on these roles can be found on Glow Connect. However, a core feature of this is that there should always be more than one administrator with access to a site. Traditionally, only one user or learner would have access to an ePortfolio. They may, however, add multiple teachers so that they can share their learning experience. The teacher has an overview and can also contribute or moderate. We're now going to take a look at a live demonstration of how you can create an ePortfolio within Glow Blogs. To access your own or your learners' ePortfolios or blogs, select Add, App from Library and search Blogs in the top right corner. You'll see all tiles for local authorities with access to Glow Blogs. Select your current local authority and add it to your Launchpad. Once selected, close the box and choose the rocket to return to your own Launchpad. It may be useful to know if a colleague from another local authority, for example within your Regional Improvement Collaborative, adds you to a professional blog, you may have to add their local authority tile for blogs to your Launchpad. The same is true if a learner transfers from one local authority to another and you have access to their ePortfolio. In order to fully transfer it, you may have to add their previous local authority to view the blog shared with you. Once you're ready to look at or create a blog, including ePortfolio, select the tile. The landing page gives you 3 options: create a new blog, including ePortfolio, view your existing blogs, or access help. There's also a handy latest post section allowing you to see anything which you have access to read at the bottom. This can include class blogs as well as ePortfolio posts. There's a handy home button at the top for My Sites, which will always be visible when within Glow Blogs. We're going to create a new ePortfolio, so we're going to create blog. To create your ePortfolio, select the Create Blog button. This process is the same as if you were creating a normal blog. However, we're going to change one significant area. When you land on this page, it will show you a list of the sites you're already a member of, and then a short form which you must complete to create your blog or ePortfolio. The site title is the URL that your site will be available via. Here, when using ePortfolios, you may wish to carefully consider the method that you want young people to use so that there's a naming system in place throughout your setting. For example, first name, last initial, and current year. Initials, class number, and random unique identifier. Once your setting or local authority has established a pattern for site naming, apply that. Here we're going to use initials, the current year, and the class that I'm in. Next, the site title acts as the home button on your Glow blog or Glow blog ePortfolio. This, unlike the site name, can be amended at any time in the future. Site names, once selected, are fixed. Once active, it cannot be reused. The site title would normally, for an ePortfolio, be the young person's name as it appears on CMIS, or however they're commonly referred to within the school setting. There are a range of languages that the young person can identify when creating their ePortfolio. The privacy box allows you to choose whether or not you want search engines to be able to find the site in a search if the site is public. Either way, most ePortfolios would not be searchable. A class blog, however, you may wish to appear if someone, for example, Googles it. And lastly, most importantly, we're going to choose our site type, traditional blog or ePortfolio, using the drop-down menu. Here we're choosing ePortfolio. Once you've double-checked everything's in place, the young person would create the site. It is possible for staff to create an ePortfolio for their young person. However, if young people create it, it is theirs and they have ownership of it. They should initially, however, add any members of staff to it, as without adding a member of staff as a fellow administrator, they will not have access. Once your blog has been successfully created, an interactive bar will appear under your title, or you can go to the dashboard, the tools and settings option of your blog. If we select the name of our blog, we can see the site title, the site name, and we can see some core built-in standard features, all of which can be personalised. The dashboard is identified by our name at the top with a small indicator of a speedometer. Selecting this allows us to switch between behind the scenes view and front of house public view. Again, any ePortfolio or blog which is created is automatically created in private mode, and sharing options can then be adapted. Firstly, we might want to add our practitioners or colleagues to our ePortfolio. Here we can choose users and we can choose add new. For your setting, you can choose your local authority, which will then give you a sub-menu of schools for you to choose your own. Then you can choose the class, stage, or staff members. If you want to add a unique user, for example, a speech and language therapist who works within your setting, or bilingual support worker, you may want to use an individual user. This may also be useful for transition periods where you want to add one transition guidance member of staff. Simply select the person's Glow username. No other information is required. If you're adding multiple users this way, take a new line for each one. The option at the bottom for role allows you to choose what you want that person to be. The young person should always add a member of staff as administrator. This means they have full rights, as the child would, to add posts, edit, and also delete the site when no longer needed. It's uncommon for young people to add another young person to their ePortfolio. This is a record of their achievements. There is a profile, which we'll look at shortly, which can be generated and shared with an employer, further education environment, etc. Once you're happy with your selection, say Add New, and a green band will appear along the top to confirm that this has been successful. If it was unsuccessful, this band would be red. Selecting the users from the menu at the left-hand side and all users, I can now see my own account I created and the one that I've just added. This users bar also gives you an overview of the work that's been carried out. It will tell you the username, their email address, their name as it appears in Glow, the role they have, and how many posts they've created. At any time, if you want to remove a user, simply select the box, choose Bulk Actions, Remove, and Apply. You can also change the role of a young person or colleague on your blog using the Change Role To option. This may be useful if you have a person who is contributing but may not need administrator rights any longer. It's particularly useful if you have a class blog. Once you've added another person to your blog or ePortfolio, you may want to go back and personalise it. This can be done in one of two ways, via the dashboard or using the Customise button that appears at the top of your screen. Any of the blue pencil dots allow the young person to see where they can personalise their ePortfolio. Here we can choose to change the theme that we spoke about earlier. It will allow them to see a live preview. However, most ePortfolios are created using the 2014 theme. The site identity allows you to change the site title, for example, if a child's surname changes. It also allows you to give it a tagline. For example, class motto, school motto, or information about which specific class they're in. Below the tagline, we have the option to add a site icon. A site icon is the small image which appears in a tab next to the title. For example, here we have the Glow logo, but we may see it with Amazon, Tesco, or any other major company. You can choose to use images if you already have uploaded them, or a young person can choose an image that they are comfortable with. This is a nice way to introduce web parts. It's also a really nice way to discuss copyright and appropriate images within the learning environment. Here we're going to choose the science image, and we can also see that if this young person was to save it on a device, for example an iPad or their phone, it would save the URL as an icon using that logo too. When we're happy, we can publish. We can also use the cog to choose whether or not to publish it now, save it as a draft and come back to this maybe if it's the end of a period and we're not ready to go into the next stage, or whether to schedule changes. Once happy, select Publish. Use the back arrow to work your way through the rest of the list. This includes choosing colours for the text. You may wish to use school colours. You can also choose the background colour, which appears as two bands at either side of your screen. Whilst not visible in edit mode, it will be visible once we see our blog complete. Again, choose to select or publish or save for a later date. The header image acts as a banner which goes along the top. This is a nice way which a young person can make a collage of their achievements, add an image that they feel represents them, and again can be linked to understanding around copyright. The banner must be a panoramic photograph. Alternatively, you may wish to take a slice of a landscape photograph. If we select Add New, we don't want either of these photos, so we're going to upload a new one. We'll choose this flowery picture to represent me, and once uploaded, we can select and crop. If you no longer want that image, for example, this PNG file is appearing too large, select Add New Image, drag and drop, or repeat the process. Here we can see my bar. Changing the layout of this will make it too large. The computer will automatically identify the size needed for your banner. Adding it in, we can now see I have a banner, I have my colours edited, I've edited my tagline. and I can publish. Returning back, I can choose to add a background image if I want, which would act as a tile effect around my blog if on a widescreen. I can also choose to edit my menus. Here we have a top menu and we also have a secondary menu. For more information around editing menus, you may wish to watch the Introducing Glow Blogs webinar recording on DigiLearnScot's YouTube channel. Alternatively, check out Glow Connect's Glow Blogs help guides. Widgets are features which give additional tools to your ePortfolio. For example, here we can choose which of these tabs we want. Do we want recent posts to appear? Do we want our categories to appear? Or do we want metadata to appear? We don't want the metadata, so we're going to remove that one. We can also choose what information we want at the bottom of our page and at the sidebar here. For example, we know in our ePortfolio we're not going to use comments, so we can remove that. We can add these back in at any time using a range of built-in features. Comments may or may not be used in ePortfolio. They won't appear in the profile, but if shared with, for example, the senior leadership team, they may be able to comment on a learning experience that's taken place and give feedback directly to that young person. Again, once happy, select Publish. When you're happy with any edits and changes you've made, select X. We can now see the banner's page colour that we added, our banner at the top, we've edited our title and we've edited the menu boxes here. We may, however, want to add a couple more things. First of all, a Glow blog ePortfolio is simply a Glow blog with a plugin, a piece of code that enables your blog to do something special. For example, here we've activated the ePortfolio when we selected it in creation. We may also want to add some other options, for example, the Google Translator. Select the box you want to add and activate it. Once activated, we can add it here, choosing our dashboard, choosing appearance and widgets. Once activated, the Google Translator plugin will appear in our widgets list. Here we can choose where we want it to go. Clicking it will give us an option to choose. Here we want it at the primary sidebar and we're going to add it. We might want to move it around by dragging and dropping. Once happy, return to your blog and Google Translate plugin will be here. This may be particularly useful if you have learners who have English as a second language. This allows you to see their ePortfolio in English or in your first language, and it also allows the young person to read any comments, see their blog and read it in their first language. For example, we could see this in French. You'll notice the whole site, including menus, changes to French via the Google Translate feature. Once no longer needed, it can be rotated back into English or the preferred language. So how does an ePortfolio differ from a blog? So far, they're virtually identical, with the exception of activating the Glow ePortfolio plugin. However, an ePortfolio, when selecting the Add New button, will allow you to create profiles. If we go to our dashboard, you'll also notice the addition of this profile pin here. And we'll look at that in a second. We also see that when choosing Add New and Post, the young person is given a whole range of profile tags, one for each curricular area, an additional one for their achievements and awards. There's also one for learner statement and skills for lifelong learning and work. Any posts that a young person creates will be gathered together to inform their end of year, term, or time in a school setting profile. A profile can be generated at any time. However, normally it's done at the end of a year, and this can be printed and shared with another setting for transition, child's family or guardians, or whatever your local authority has in place. It's really important that the young person uses these tags. When creating the profile, they're automatically grouped by tags, and that ensures that each area of the curriculum is covered. It creates a whole picture of the child or young person, their learning experiences both in and out of school, and achievements as well as skills they may have gained that they feel relevant for future learning or work. Not all posts are included, and the content of the post can be based around a 2 stars and a wish, a diary entry style post, or a summary of skills which that young person feels they've gained from particular activity. Here, we need our titles to be as specific as possible, as when creating our end of year profile, we are only able to see initially the title. Therefore, saying I can use a Bbot will not give us as much information as create an algorithm. They can write about their experience using the simple editing bars here. They may also want to include links, and they can add media. Again, the same media library we use to create our ePortfolio is carried with it, or we can upload new images. For example, here we learn to create an algorithm following creating a sandwich method so that young people understood what an algorithm is. They may want to populate some text, add in their image. Images are not necessarily required, but may be useful to demonstrate understanding. They would then select the tag that they want to use, for example, technologies. Once happy, they can choose to publish. All posts are seen here. They can add a new post at any time via the Add New button here, or at the top of the screen, which is the more traditional use. And if they go to the front of their blog, they'll see the post they've just created. We're going to look at an ePortfolio that's already been created as an example. Here we have an example ePortfolio. We have a range of different entries covering a range of different curricular areas and achievements within and beyond the school day. Here's our I can write an algorithm post, which we can see has been added with some text. And we feel that we're ready at the end of the academic year to create a profile. Selecting behind the scenes, the dashboard, or the Add New Profile, we're going to create a new one. So I'm going to choose Profiles, and we can see I've already created one in the past, maybe from a previous year. I can choose to get rid of that or download it. I can choose to have a look if this is a new learner to me, or I can choose to add a new profile. Again, think how you want to title your ePortfolio. Add in school name and class. And then we're given the option to add a school logo, which will make us our science jars, and an image of ourselves, which will make this one here. Again, this is a good opportunity to think about the image that may be shared as these images appear on the profile that we can save as a PDF. So we may want to talk to our young people around use of appropriate photographs for such tools as a profile. Below our image section, we can see the sections that we've completed. Here we can see that I've tagged in some posts using literacy, maths, wider achievement, sciences, skills for life, technologies. However, I can also then see that I've not covered any posts on RME, health and well-being, etc. So I may want my young people to stop, go back and revisit their learning experiences and populate with those. A handy tip may also be to create a card for each young person to ensure that over the course of each term, they also add in a post for each of those curricular areas by ticking off the box. At the end of the term, each of the curricular areas, including skills and achievements is also populated. When we select the down arrow, we'll see the last 3 posts that young person has added. The young person would carry out this part of the activity themselves in most circumstances, as it's them identifying which of their learning experiences they feel they want to share that best represent their achievements or learning and understanding. If they no longer want to use a post, they can remove it. They can also choose to remove all 3. When any less than 3 options appear, this drop-down menu will be shown for them to reselect any posts which have that tag attached. Whilst it's recommended 3 posts are used, it's not essential. So if a learner has only had experience with 1 post there, that's also fine. If a young person does not want to include the whole area, for example, all of the posts with my achievement reward, they can choose to remove that section and they can re-add it at any time in the future before publishing. Any posts that have a tag which is not included in these sections will appear here. Only posts with tags that are not included appear here, and again, thinking back to our ones that are not visible, for example, social subjects. If there's not an option for it here, it means there's no posts being created over the course of term, year, etc. To add a section back in, simply select it and choose Add. We can see it's appeared back here. Once the young person has gone through and they feel that they're happy, they may want to preview it. Selecting Preview will open a new tab and it allows them to see what their profile will look like to the reader. They can check they're happy, and if they want to make any edits, they can go back and do so now. When they're happy, they may want to save it as a draft. Selecting the Profiles tab again, we can see I now have a draft one here, and as the teacher, I may want to go in and have a little look. And we'll look at how you can access learners' profiles quickly and easily shortly. Once the young person is happy, or if you're moderating what's there to support the young person, again allowing them to have ownership of this, you may want to say to them to go back in and edit it. They can then choose to make any changes or to simply publish. As it's saved as a PDF, it can't be unpublished. However, once published, they will have a document which can be downloaded or saved. You'll see if they click it, there's a download button at the top. They can also make a copy of it, they can print it, and so on. Their profile allows them to share their learning experiences with colleges, for jobs that they may be applying for beyond the school to demonstrate their skills and attributes. Selecting the dashboard, going to Profiles, allows us to see those options as well. We can download a copy, clone it, and if we no longer want it, simply trash it. The trash bin up here will allow us to undo if we want to repeat. We've accidentally deleted it. You'll also see there's a trash bin just above these, and it shows you how many profiles are there. If a young person wants to share a specific post from their ePortfolio, for example, an award that they've received that they feel would stand them in good stead for sharing if they're applying for something, or if they want to share it with a non-Glow user, they may want to use this visibility button. On the post, they can change the visibility and stick something to the front page. They can also password protect that post or make it private. Password protecting their post allows them to create a public post. However, it's not seen without having the password. This can be shared in a separate email or in a conversation, etc. It can be removed at any time by just returning to public view. Demo is not a good password, however we're just demonstrating, so we're going to use that as our password for this post. Once you've added your password and updated your blog, you'll notice that this post no longer appears on your blog and a person would be instructed to add a password to it. However, a more conventional way may be to simply share via a profile. ePortfolios are a fantastic way for young people to share a sense of who they are, their learning experiences. It allows others to view a realistic sense of their literacy skills, the skills that they've gained, and gives a wider view of that young person's experience within the education system that they've had at the time of creating their profile. If a young person creates a profile and adds you to it, looking at the My Sites page, you may wish to go through your class and follow. This allows you to see at a glance this section up here that says Blogs I Follow. Selecting this will let you see any posts which have been recently updated. You can also filter by those you've not read yet, and it allows you to go straight to the post rather than open up the whole blog. You can also see a list of the blogs here, and you can choose to unfollow a blog if a learner is no longer in your setting, for example, if they've moved on to the cluster secondary. You can also create a group. This allows you to create groups that you may check. For example, in a class of 30, you may only want to look at 5 blogs per week to check over all the posts that are being added. Therefore, you could create groups 1 through 5 and review the experiences that are being shared on a rotation. Alternatively, it allows you to look at differentiated groups in one go, and so on. Once your blog group is created, return to your blog section, choose the list of blogs you want to add, and you can choose to add them to, for example, here is our demo group, and we can update. Now I can still see the list in here, but I can also see at a glance which group they're in. If I was to go to my group blogs, I would go to demo, and I'm only seeing the posts from that group. As I'm not class-based, it's harder to demonstrate. However, if you use this with a few learners, you'll see quite quickly how much simpler this method is rather than using the traditional My Sites and clicking open all of the individual blogs. At any time, if you no longer wish to be associated with an ePortfolio, you can choose to remove yourself from a site. This is useful if a class has gone on to secondary. You may want to leave a slight overlap in case the secondary school has any questions about the posts that are there based on what they're seeing from the young person at the school. It allows you to have a reference that's shared. But you may also wish to go into your ePortfolio, You may also wish to create an ePortfolio that you want to test out all of these features in before using them with your learner. Please feel free to create these and then delete them as you see fit. To delete any blog or ePortfolio, you must go to Tools from the dashboard, choose Delete Site, and you'll be given a pop-up window to confirm that you want to delete it. The site is not deleted until you click on a link sent to your Glow mail account. However, once deleted, it cannot be recovered, so please think carefully on carrying this out. Also, you may wish to look at the settings. Here we can choose whether or not we want our general settings. So we can choose to edit all of the features here, including time and date format. We can also choose who can read it. We can choose whether or not we want a static page at the front. So a young person, as I mentioned, may want to celebrate something that's happened and have that static. And it can also show how many posts are in their feed. This is where you would also change the visibility. If it was a blog, you may want it to be only Glow users or public. ePortfolios, as we've said, are traditionally private. This was an introduction to ePortfolios. There's lots that can be done with them. As we've mentioned, you may wish to use the Glow Connect Glow blog section, which has a huge wealth of amazing information. So, To go to the Glow blog section, you would go to the National Glow Launchpad and choose the Glow Connect tile. On Glow Connect, which can also be Googled, select Help with Glow and choose the Glow blog section. When on the page, it's this section here that you want to choose. This allows you to be taken to the whole Glow blog's subsite. Here you can see there's an entire area devoted to ePortfolios, the password protection phases, setting them up, and lots more. Anyone who uses Glow blogs should check this site out. It's really good. Additionally, the team I'm part of, DigiLearnScot, has a useful site that you may wish to check out, where we can share webinars, learning pathways on a whole range of digital pedagogy and tools. And along the top, you can have access to our social media feeds and our YouTube channel. This recording will be shared on the YouTube channel, along with the introduction to Glow blogs, which for new users to Glow blogs who want something that looks just at creating and all of the different components, you may wish to check that out too. Thank you very much for watching this video. We hope it's been useful. Please do get in touch with @DigiLearnScot if you have any questions.